John Lubeck has thousands of dollars in drone equipment that he says could become useless if a federal ban that is set to go into effect on Tuesday, December 23rd, is not audited or extended.
The date was December 23rd, 2025, and for millions of drone pilots around the world, it felt like the sky has just fallen. DJI, the company that practically invented the consumer drone industry, the brand that put aerial photography in the hands of everyday people, the giant that controls 70% of the global drone market, has just been added to the FCC Covered List. No new models can enter the United States, no restocking, no future. And the questions on everyone's mind was simple. Is this the end of DJI? Let me tell you a story about how we got here, what it means, and whether the world's biggest drone company can survive what might be the biggest crisis yet. DJI didn't just make drones, they revolutionized them. Back in 2006, when Frank Wang founded the company in a small apartment in Shenzhen, China, drones were clunky, expensive toys for hobbyists with deep pockets and engineering degrees. They were hard to fly, harder to maintain, and crashed more often than they landed. But DJI just changed everything. They made drones that everyone could fly. Drones with GPS stabilization, obstacle avoidance, and 4K cameras on gimbals that made Hollywood quality footage accessible to a teenager with a summer job. The Phantom series, the Mavic line, the Inspire, these weren't just products, they were cultural phenomena. Wedding photographers built entire business around them. Real estate agents sold homes with aerial tours. Search and rescue teams saved lives, filmmakers won awards, and millions of people, just regular people, just got to see the world from a perspective that was once reserved for pilots and birds.
Would you do video drone?
By 2020, DJI wasn't the biggest drone company in the world. They were the only one that mattered. 76% of the market share in the US alone. The competitors couldn't keep up, and while for a while it seemed like nothing could stop them, it began quietly. Back in 2017, the US Army issued an internal memo banning DJI drones, citing concerns about data collections. Then the Department of Homeland Security raised alarms. Were these drones sending information back to China? Was the government watching through the cameras of millions of Mavericks flying over American cities, farms, and infrastructure? DJI pushed back hard. They commissioned independent audits, they introduced local data mode, letting users fly drones completely offline. They even started manufacturing drones in California to prove their commitment to the US market, and for a while it seemed like the controversy might blow over. But it didn't. Because this was never really about drones. It was about trust. It was about supply chains. It was about two superpowers locked in a technological Cold War, and DJI, whether they wanted to be or not, was caught in the crossfire. By 2024, the pressure was building. The Contouring CCP Drones Act was introduced in Congress. States started banning Chinese-made drones for government use. Federal agency quietly stopped buying DJI, and then came the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act. The NDAA gave drones 1 year. 1 year for a U.S. national security agency to conduct a formal audit and clear them. If they passed, they could stay. If no agency completed the review by December 23, 2025, DJI would automatically be added to the FCC Covered List. DJI publicly begged for the audit. They said that they had nothing to hide. They offered full transparency, but no agency stepped forward. And as the deadline approached, it became clear this wasn't about evidence. This was about policy. This was about sending a message. On December 23rd, the hammer fell. So, is this the end of DJI? Let's be honest. In the United States, as a consumer brand, yes, it's over. New models can't be approved. Inventory will dry up, parts will become scarce, software support will fade, and within 2 to 3 years, flying a DJI drones in the US will feel like driving a car you can't get parts for anymore. Commercial operators are already pivoting to Skydro, FreeFly, and other NDAA compliant brands. Public safety agencies have no choice but to move on, and recreational pilots, the ones who made DJI a household name, are going to be flying the same aging drones until the batteries won't charge anymore. But here's the thing, the United States isn't the whole world. DJI still dominates Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Africa. Markets where the geopolitical tension with China doesn't override the simple fact that DJI makes the best drones at the best price. And those markets aren't small. The global drone market is expected to hit $40 billion by 2030. The US is a big piece, but it's not everything. DJI could survive this. They could refocus on international markets. They can continue innovation for the 70% of the world that still wants their products. They could double down on industrial, agricultural, and enterprise applications where performance matters more than politics. But let's not pretend this doesn't hurt. Losing the US market is a massive blow. It's not just about revenue, it's about reputation. It's about perception. When the world's biggest economy bans your product, even without proof of wrongdoing, it raises questions everywhere else. If America doesn't trust DJI, should we? And that's the real danger here. Not the immediate loss of the US market, but the slow erosion of trust worldwide. Because once that's gone, it doesn't matter how good your drones are. So, is this the end of DJI? Maybe not the end, but it's definitely the end of an era. The era where DJI could sell a Mavic in every Best Buy in America. The era where a kid in Iowa could save up for a Mini and learn to fly the same drone that professionals use in Iceland, Australia, and Japan. The era where DJI's dominance felt invincible, unstoppable, and permanent. That era is over. What comes next is anyone's guess. Maybe DJI adapts, survives, and thrives in the rest of the world. Maybe they become a cautionary tale about what happens when you build your empire in someone else's backyard. Or maybe, just maybe, this is the spark that forces the US drones industry to finally catch up and build something better. But one thing's for sure, the sky will never look the same again. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay up to date on what happens next, subscribe and hit the bell, because this story is far from over.